Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, Clarendon man charged for cutting wife's throat, setting house ablaze. A husband from Frankfield, Clarendon, has been charged with killing his wife and setting their home on fire. 39-year-old chef Henry Williams of Cupid's district has been charged with murder and arson. The victim was a 33-year-old Julian Guthrie Williams. According to the police, around 12:20 a.m. on Tuesday, April 8, the man got into a dispute with his wife and allegedly used a knife to cut her throat before setting the house on fire. Both of them were rescued from the blaze by residents. The police and the fire department were alerted and the fire was extinguished. Cooling down operations were conducted and the woman's body was taken to the morgue pending a post-mortem. Later that day, the husband turned himself into the police where he was interviewed and gave a caution statement. He was later charged. He is scheduled to appear before the Clarendon Parish Court on Thursday, April 17. Life imprisonment for woman who murdered elderly Spanish Town man whose body was found in comforter. Sadine Green, who pleaded guilty to the 2017 murder of an elderly man whose body was found wrapped in a comforter near his home in Spanish Town, was on Thursday sentenced to life in prison in the St. Catherine Circuit Court. Green was ordered by Justice Bertram Morrison to serve 15 years before being eligible for parole. The deceased, 74-year-old Fitzalbert Barnes of Young Street in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, was hit with a hammer during an altercation with Green, and his body was disposed of. In handing down the sentence, Morrison indicated that when all factors were considered, the aggravated circumstances of the case outweighed the mitigating ones. He said a sentence had to be imposed which would not shock the public. "No, madam, having taken all into consideration, it's 15 years imprisonment," Morrison said. The facts are that on May 23, 2017, Green visited the complainant's dwelling and a dispute developed, which turned physical. Green used a hammer to strike Barnes to the head. Barnes' body, with his head bashed in and multiple stab wounds, was found dumped near his home. The Spanish Town Criminal Investigation Branch launched a probe, which resulted in the arrest and the subsequent charge of Green. She made numerous court appearances and pleaded guilty to murder on February 25, 2025. She was represented by attorney-at-law Althea Grant. Man accused of 48 counts of fraud freed. A man accused of 48 counts of fraudulent conversion concerning checks were freed in the St. Anne Parish Court on Wednesday following a no-case submission. Free was Andrew Thomas, a former manager at MZ Holding Limited. The Crown had alleged that Thomas fraudulently changed the checks of two former security guards. In 2023, an investigation by the St. Anne Police resulted in Thomas being arrested and charged with fraud. At the end of the Crown's case on Wednesday, attorney-at-law Stephen Jackson made a no-case submission arguing that witnesses had failed to connect his client to any act of fraud. Jackson said that the prosecution did not establish a case against his client, therefore he should be freed. Trial Judge Lorona Montague Williams agreed and entered a formal verdict of not guilty. The parish judge explained that the prosecution failed to connect a nexus between the accused and the changing of any checks. Thomas made numerous court appearances and maintained his innocence throughout. St. Mary Police seized more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition plus firearm parts. The police in St. Mary seized more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition and multiple firearm parts in Castleton, St. Mary on Thursday. The police say the illegal items were found in an abandoned 4-bedroom concrete structure in Devon Pen, Castleton. The area was searched and the police discovered 2 black grocery bags and 1 brown bag concealed in a front room. Upon inspection, the bags were found to contain a significant cache of ammunition and 9 firearm magazines. Superintendent Anthony Wallace acting commanding officer for the St. Mary Police, said this was a major dent in criminal operations in the parish.
This is a significant breakthrough in our ongoing fight against illegal weapons in the parish. We continue to urge residents to share information by calling the Portmore Police at 876-333-9530 or 876-994-4222 or Crime Stop at 311.
Police probing suspected extortion racket targeting ferry commercial zone. The police are probing a suspected extortion racket involving criminals targeting construction developers in the ferry commercial zone in St. Andrew. This followed Tuesday's arrest of a suspect along Tom Crindle Drive in the vicinity of Tankweld. The suspect was held in possession of an illegal firearm by an off-duty police officer. It is reported that a police constable was conducting business at the location when he observed a group of men who had entered the compound. Their action aroused his suspicion. As a result, he identified himself and accosted the men. The policeman requested a search and found an illegal gun and a loaded magazine on one of them. The suspect was taken to the Doheny Park police station where he was charged. He has been identified as 27-year-old Ricky Ferron, otherwise called the Pharaoh of Chinke Valley in New Haven, Kingston 20. Further investigations by the police allegedly linked him to a criminal gang involved in an extortion racket. The police say they are probing reports that members of the criminal network have been targeting companies in the ferry commercial zone. Custos warns against the rejoicing when gunmen are killed. While many Jamaicans have been expressing delight that the security forces appear to be turning the tables on gunmen, resulting in more than 80 persons being killed in alleged confrontations with lawmen since the start of the year, Westmoreland Custos, Reverend Hartley Perrin, is warning against rejoicing at these deaths. Any killing, whether it is done by civilian or by the state, is cause for concern, and we should not rejoice of the killing of anybody, even if the person is found guilty of some crime, said Perrin in the aftermath of Monday's killing of 6 alleged gunmen in 2 separate incidents in western Jamaica. While not questioning the police's account of the 2 shooting incidents, one in Greenhill, Westmoreland, and the other in West Village in St. James, Perrin said his preference would be to see criminals surrender and have their day in court. The police have told us, and we have no reason to doubt them, that many of those they would want to go and apprehend have raised their guns towards them, and they have to retaliate, said Perrin. In some instances, we really can't blame the police, but we would wish and hope that things would be different so that we do not have the number of killings, whether by police or by civilians, because there is really too much bloodshed in our country. In the aftermath of Monday's killing, scores of persons on social media came down on the side of the police, saying they were doing a great job in turning the tables on gunmen who have been holding the nation at ransom for too long, with more than 1,000 murders registered across the island each year. Listen, police now play. It is not the time to be a gunman, cause police are send uno to no maker, cause they now give una a chance to face the judge, to waste time and taxpayer money, wrote one person. Another person wrote, "Officer, good job indeed," which was followed by fire emojis to support the comment. Following an incident in St. James last year, where an alleged gangster was killed in a shootout with the police at a guest house in downtown Montego Bay, Senior Superintendent Aaron Samuels, the police commander for the parish, said the police are not in the business of celebrating the killing of gunmen. "We are always happy when firearms are recovered, but we are never happy when lives are lost, as we prefer when criminals surrender to the police," Samuels told the news at the time. "We will never celebrate the loss of life. If in defending themselves and the people of Jamaica a life is lost, it is usually because we have no choice." Perrin, who has been a long-standing advocate of community policing, said he was concerned about the fact that some of the killings that are taking place are happening in the presence of children. In some instances, the killings take place in the presence of youngsters, and that has a lasting impact psychologically on them and the other persons who see these things happen around them, said a parent. So we have to be very careful. It is a long journey, not an easy fix, but it is something we have to be concerned about and take steps to alleviate. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.